Yes, now episode 3 is Ghosts of Illyria of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And this, well, first I guess I'll say the story's a little more Star Trek-y. If it were handled better, then I would say it would be one of the more meh episodes of Star Trek.
It seemed very much to me like them trying to do the generic episode, because like every series, I think it was even the second episode of TNG where they had the virus episode.
Yeah.
I think they have a virus episode every season anyway.
Yeah, TNG, they had that, the drunken virus episode where everybody gets drunk off of it.
Picture of the kitty watching us from her tower. Tell us what the main, I guess, premise. What's the premise of the episode?
So the Enterprise visits a colony of Illyrians who are genetically modified people that tried to get into the Federation before, but they don't allow genetically modified people into the Federation.
Yeah, they do have their own prejudices about things in this. What do you call it? Federation, because they also don't like synths either.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess it's in the future because we're in the past right now, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Future past.
Well, this is like Kurtzman Trek, and Kurtzman Trek, racism came back to start to the Federation.
Hardcore discrimination too.
Yeah.
Because we get to learn how if you are genetically modified, people do discriminate against you.
Yeah. Which is stupid because there are so they have so many cultures in the Federation. And like, do you remember the season 1 episode where it had those aliens with the big heads that talked in binary?
Oh, TNG 101101.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they modified themselves. Like, I guess it wasn't genetically, but they had like computers in their brains.
Yeah.
And like the Federation was cool with them, so I don't know why.
Well, they were part of the Federation actually. Well, if you remember, the whole idea was that they needed their help, but they didn't. There was a 1% chance they'd refuse, so they decided to hijack them. And then at the end, Picard's like, "Why'd you just ask us? We would have helped." And they're like, "Well, there's a 1% chance in our calculations you wouldn't, so we just went ahead."
So maybe racism is back in the Federation then.
No, I don't know. They didn't refuse to let them into the Federation because they're modified. They just, in the story, they just weren't part of the Federation.
Nah.
I don't think. I forget now. That's right, because they were in dry dock, weren't they?
Yeah. So I thought they were part of the Federation.
But they were like technicians or something.
Yeah, like they were working on the Enterprise. Like the Federation was happily working with them.
Yeah.
But anyway, story is like they are on the colony, like a colony where all the people vanished, the Illyrian. So they go down to an Illyrian colony where all the people have mysteriously vanished, and they're sort of like picking through the junk. And also,
too, isn't it? Where all the colonists are dead.
Yeah, and also there's a transporter interfering storm that's approaching too.
To make sure we trap the two main characters on the planet. So that the second officer can be in charge upstairs, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I was saying, actually, that happens a lot where it's just dead colonists, even in like the TOS.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm thinking of Kirk's brother, who we saw. They go to his planet in the future, and they're all dead, and they're killed by like the space boogers. If you shoot them, they grow larger.
Yeah, those amoebas.
Yeah. And or the Gorn with where Nu Young Sung came from. Like her.
Oh yeah.
Her family was killed by the Gorn, and we see in that TOS episode where
in yet another continuity mistake.
Yeah, where the Gorn killed all the colonists on this one planet Kirk was going after.
Well, like the continuity was that like they didn't encounter the Gorn until Kirk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Kirk is not even out there yet. Well, of course, because Pike's in charge of the Enterprise. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So then anyway, they get a space virus or a moth virus.
Yeah. So yeah, then they. So they inadvertently transport back a light virus.
Or a moth virus, because they're attracted to light and they need it, or they'll get angry.
Because like there was a problem with the transporters when that transporter destroying storm approached them. Even so, why did they wait that long then?
They're like canals for night boat. They're all transporter accidents. There's always a transporter accident for the plot, just like there's always a canal for the plot with night boat. In that very obscure reference.
Or a ravine.
Or a ravine.
And they accidentally transport a light virus with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is the first interesting part about. Oh, I wonder what the world of Star Trek is like. Because he says like it's impossible. Because if there was a virus, our filters would catch it, and if it's something they didn't recognize, our filters would not allow it in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. Like,
seems very sensible.
Well, but no, it's interesting. Like, so in the future, like you have to be. There's so much more like special considerations because now because they go to like places where they don't know the people at all and they beam them up. Like in the first episode, they beamed up those people from that planet. Well, they're going to have a ton of stuff that's unrecognized. And what if that one thing is their brain? And they don't recognize their brain because the biofilters are because their brain is like wired entirely differently with unrecognizable
maybe
stuff.
there's like a bacteria. Well, there's like in them that they need for like digestion or something, and then they like beam it up and without it.
Yeah, I said brain to be funny, but basically like there's any kind of like important enzymes and whatnot inside you, and who knows what little thing an alien has that a brand new alien never saw before has, and your transporter can't. So basically what you need is like you need all those special technicians who are like, okay, so now we have to like look at our different filters and like dial things back and forth and be careful of things. But they don't go into that into Star Trek like this because that's not the point. But it's like that world is so much more sophisticated. You just need a ton more different kinds of technicians and everything else, because there's no standard either, is there, in the universe? Especially if you're going out to explore new aliens. Like, you can't just have a standard filter on your transporter anywhere because everyone is so different.
Well, unless you're beaming up like members of the crew.
Well, no, that's like if it's normal, regular stuff, then yeah, there's no problem. But that's not what they're doing, is it?
But yeah, no.
Because they beamed up those guys, and it's just lucky that their brain was made of something the computer recognized.
Yeah. Well, they usually are. Like, they're all usually just humans with makeup on them, so...
Yeah.
Probably, like, a very similar physiology.
Oh, yeah, but anyway, but there would be, like, an infinite number of technicians you would need in that world.
Yeah, and...
Like, it'd be, like, super specialized, every little bit.
And... where were we?
So, yeah, they beam up the virus, and then... Well, when I talked about the filters after they're trying to discover what's going on, how did the virus get up here? Because one of the crew members... one crew member first tries to bash his head through the window to get to the light. And another couple of crew members get mad when Uhura turns off their special light. And and so then we learn like, oh no, there's something going on here. Sick bay fills up, and then they try to find out where the virus is coming from, and they discover it's light.
Yeah, apparently the virus infects through light.
Light waves, I think.
Oh, light waves.
Yeah, that's right. And and so they weren't sure what the right light wave was or whatever. Yeah, it was like on the frequency of that specific light wave.
But the first officer, number 1, is mysteriously immune to it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because turns out she's actually an Illyrian in disguise.
Well, okay. Well, the thing I was going to bring up actually was the character of Nuon Singer, or the person who had the same last name as Khan. That character. Because I looked it up. I was wondering, like, how many dictators' families continue on, actually?
When did Khan have kids?
I don't know if they even said that. But I looked some of it up, and so like Hitler's family, they all decided like we're not going to have children. So they very specifically decided not to have children. Basically, like as what would you call it? Basically, kind of like a gene. They decided to end their genes right there, right? Huh? So I'm wondering why wouldn't the other Songs do that if they're so evil? But I did find out, because like Hitler at that point and now is basically we recognize as being the most evil person, right? So they decide to stop their line right there. And I believe Khan is the most evil person to the people of the future, right?
Yeah.
But then also, but at the same time, Mussolini's family is still around, and one of them's a member of Parliament or something.
Oh. Well.
And recently, actually, I think a relative of the dictator in the 17th of the Philippines has recently become elected president of the Philippines.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So they don't always necessarily go away, I guess.
Okay.
That's all I have for that.
Wait, but they let her into Starfleet.
Actually, another thing I said, how often do like the evil king's families survive as well? Because usually, if they don't decide to end their genes, they will also be murdered by the next dynasty.
Yeah, but didn't that stop when Khan left the Earth?
Oh, that's right. They all just sort of floated away. So then there's family members who decide to stay and who are allowed to stay.
I guess.
Oh, maybe they'll get more into it.
I don't think so, but okay. And
or not. I don't really care, I guess.
Eh. So Spock. Oh yeah, and there's also Pike and Spock get trapped on Illyria, the colony. And like Spock is sort of like going through their library, looking at all these glowing cylinders.
And yeah, and then are we going to say that they found out that they're actually Illyrians?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we find out they're actually Illyrians, and they turn to light because they modified themselves too much.
Yeah, because like when they're on the planet.
There's light monsters.
The storm comes in, and they see like light monsters in the storm. And yeah, it turns out they are Illyrians.
Yeah. Yeah, at one point, like, we don't know who they are, and at one point there's a big storm, and then these monsters come in and surround Pike and Spock.
Yeah, like they try to get into the room, like they start trying to bash their way into the room where they're trapped, and one of them like slashes at Spock's neck.
Yeah.
So they like barricade, but then they break through at the last second and then just surround them and protect them from the storm.
Yeah, it turns out protecting them.
Turns out they were good all along.
Well, because they knew that Spock has to survive for TOS and Pike has to survive to get horribly burnt.
Exactly.
Because that's the thing, like it's almost set up more than usual to not have suspense. Because in a regular show, you do realize the main character's not going to die. But here they already told you these two main characters have a future. You already saw their future too, so you already know what's going to happen to them. So what we're seeing here, because very much the suspense was supposed to come from, will they survive this? You know,
like, well, what are those monsters going to do to them?
But they do that all the time in Star Trek anyway, right? But it just seemed especially like egregious because they keep telling us, no, these people are perfectly safe, are going to be perfectly safe for at least 10 years. But then they have. Because it's the great thing about having these episodes is that we have a little mystery that they solve. Basically, we get to watch them we watch them investigating the medical mystery and and learning what's going on. So we get that kind of thing, and then we also get a conclusion to the mystery. And like if we were watching a serialized show, we would probably be still left hanging about the mystery by the end of the episode.
They'd probably like drop the mystery.
Or just drop it altogether, yeah.
Because I'll say this, what they really have over like Picard is like they have an actual story, like a thought out story for every episode.
Yeah. They're not just like trying to stretch out for time.
Yeah, not just like throwing everything they think of in just to stretch out.
Yeah, none of these episodes are the same length either. So it seems like they do like just like what they need, and they don't really like try to stretch it out.
Yeah.
Because the first two episodes I think were around 51 minutes, and this last one was like 42 minutes, 45 minutes. So yeah, they're not. So unlike network television where it has to be 41 minutes, there's probably going to be stuff that doesn't need to be in there, or there's not enough stuff in there because they didn't have enough time. Here they can just put exactly what they need into it.
Mm-hmm.
Except nowadays things are too long anyway.
Yeah.
But at least they're forced to stay to under an hour.
Yeah. So the crew, they're all in sickbay, and guess then the Soon's daughter, or whatever, or Singh's daughter, or whatever her name is,
Khan's ancestor.
her granddaughter, or I don't know. She's her ancestor.
Yeah.
She tries to blow up the ship
Descendant.
because she's trying to get the radiation.
Well, she's not the first one to try to blow up the ship. First, our chief engineer dude tries to bring in a piece of the sun into the which I thought was kind of fun actually. I kind of like that bit.
He's like taking a piece of the
I'm performing a miracle.
core, the planet's
the sun's core, not the planet's core, or whatever you're. Remember from episode 1, The Phantom Menace?
The planet core.
Yeah.
Well, no, you travel through the planet core.
Yeah, but he says it through the planet core.
Yeah.
But this is the sun's core, so you don't say it the same way.
No, it's the planets. It was a piece of the planets.
I thought it was a piece of the sun he was bringing into the...
Alright, no, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, anyway, so he does that, and then he knocks her out, and then...
She knocks him out.
She knocks him out, and then it seems like he's made of foam or something, because she just, like, lifts him up.
Yeah, because...
But apparently, yeah.
Because it turns out she's an Illyrian in disguise. Oh, I said it already, didn't I?
Oh, yeah. But it also said, though, that she got super strength from the light. I thought later on.
From the light?
Yeah. Like the gene, like the light and whatnot messed with her genes where then she became more powerful.
Wasn't that immune, like her immune system?
Yeah, and she became stronger because of her system.
Or something.
Anyway, the reason why, that's what they said why she was able to pick him up, because she was getting stronger because of the sun or the light.
Okay.
I thought it was like a Vulcan power. Like Vulcans are just strong, but I don't know. She may be strong like that later on in the series too.
Okay. Yeah.
That's Mystique, by the way. Mystique did that too, didn't she? She must have lifted someone up and put her on her shoulders as Mystique. I feel like I've seen that in
Rebecca Moraine.
Yeah, that's Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
That
is the second in command of
Stamos.
Yeah, that's her. Mystique.
Okay. All right.
Well, she's not blue. That's probably why you're confused.
Well,
because that's the way we probably mostly know her as. Like, when would we have seen her without her makeup on? Just Shoot Me, I think, when she was Dennis's wife for a bit. If you can remember.
If anybody remembers that show.
Yeah, Just
from
Shoot
the
Me.
90s.
Yeah. But yeah, she was very much a 90s person, wasn't she? Or early 2000s, and then she's back.
In Star Trek form.
In Star Trek form.
Yeah.
It's a good form, I think, too, actually.
Yeah. And so they just, her immune system gives them the antibodies for the virus. They can make like a vaccine or whatever out of it.
And
they save the crew, and they get the captain and Spock back to the ship.
And then she has to say, "I'm Illyrian," and he's like,
because like Illyrians are illegal in the Federation.
Yeah.
Because they're racist now.
People.
Well,
obviously, what they're trying to do is do a, because actually in most Western militaries it's not an issue anymore, but with the American military, I think they're trying to do like a don't ask, don't tell sort of thing, where she's like pretending to be, she's trying to hide her true identity. There's obviously supposed to be that kind of thing because they're kind of heavy-handed with this new Trek about that.
Yeah, I guess kind of gets to the stupid part of the episode is right at the very end. Yeah, so like she says, the Illyrians, they artificially modify themselves to coexist with nature.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the idea is that they do things so widely. Well, it's maybe not a half bad idea because what you're having there is the Federation is because they had such a bad experience in the war with genetics, they're so super anti it. But with the Illyrians, it's part of their survival, so that's why it's like they're like almost fundamentally not compatible. So I can see what they're trying to. Well, actually, yeah. Now thinking about it, maybe they did think about it slightly.
No. So that sounded more like they're just sort of trying to make it sound all flowery by saying like it's.
No, but you have like
not
two,
this,
like their two philosophies are completely incompatible. Because to them, genetic engineering, that leads to murder and death and oppression. Basically, genetic engineering to the Federation, because they experienced that. To them, it's evil, pure and simple. Well, to the Illyrians, it's necessary for their survival. So they're just completely incompatible.
I guess.
And so that would be that makes for yeah. Maybe they weren't thinking. They don't have good dialogue. Like they just don't write it correctly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. No, I just thought that was like a sort of a dumb thing to say. That they're artificially.
Well, see, like that's
artificial,
after
modifications.
It hits me wrong when I first watch it, and it's only after when I think about it, and maybe even putting in some thought that they didn't. That seems to make sense as well. Well, I don't know, because that they have to have episodes with full circles, they may actually be thinking about it a bit more so they can find a way to conclude the thing they started in that episode. Because with Picard, they just throw up an idea like ice is bad, and then that's it. They don't really go any further with that. Well, here they go because they just forget about it because they move on to the next thing.
Immigration and customs.
Yeah, but like in an episode,
just like ice cubes or something.
Yeah, but with this episode with the Illyrians and genetic modification, you can't just move on to the next thing because you got to complete the episode. Well, in Picard, they don't have to complete the episode. They can just rescue the character and just forget ice ever existed. While here, they actually have to do something with the idea they brought up. So they have to come to a conclusion with it and actually say something about it. Just like by sheer force of storytelling, they're forced to think about it a bit more. Because, yeah, that's what I think I think that's why serialization must become so popular, because you really don't have to think with serialization. You just got to think of what at the moment is the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
Like, and then you don't even have to think about how you resolve it. You just have to have it there, and maybe you'll resolve it.
You like the message of the episode.
Yeah, and that's...
So
yeah. And that's why I think when you do like episodes like this where they're actually mini movies and you have to have a full complete thought, they're far harder to do than a serialized show.
I guess.
Well, I found that at least with doing like Jerry's Journals, where there are 2-minute stories, and every 2 minutes you have to think of a completely new premise. Well, if you're serialized, you're using the same premise every time, every episode, basically.
I guess it wasn't really hard for them because they just sort of threw everything in.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it or how it affects the story.
Yeah.
With the Picard.
Yeah, with Picard, yeah.
Even Discovery too, but.
But I did think, because it came after the story, this weird thing about the Doctor's daughter and the buffer thing, that seemed really stupid.
Yeah, that sort of thing came out of nowhere.
That I think was probably, that I think was like really stupid, because that's one of those things where it's like, for the plot they have to be dumb and then you lose credibility. Because like, why would the Doctor goes, it's my daughter in there, can I say goodbye to her before you murder her? But no, that's stupid. Like, you would... If you were doing this, you would know to put your daughter in the buffer on a Starfleet ship because they could never kill her. Because they wouldn't be allowed to.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, they would try to save her.
Yeah, so, like...
What?
So, like, the Doctor makes a dumb assumption for, I don't know, like, I don't even know why we have to see that. Oh, it turns out our main character is compassionate, because we already knew that. Like, we already knew that she wasn't going to kill his daughter.
Yeah.
So, like, that whole thing just, like, it was so stupid, I felt. I like the idea of having the daughter in there. It seems kind of interesting. I mean, that brings up the idea of, like, even immortality and buffer patterns.
Yeah, that might make, like, that'd be an interesting idea for an episode.
But the way they did it here, it's like the Doctor assumes that they're going to kill his daughter, and then it just seemed like stupid. It was just a stupid scene at the end that made no sense.
So yeah, Yeah, so now, number one, she confesses to Pike that she is Illyrian and she has the genetic modifications and that she illegally entered Starfleet. So she offers her resignation, and then Pike rejects it.
Yeah.
And tells her, like, well, you're a really good officer and it's a dumb rule anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If I'm gonna keep you on, and if Starfleet has anything to say about it, I will deal with it.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was pretty good. You know,
Oh, you like that one?
Yeah, that part. Like,
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that was the stupid part.
No, that comes after.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no, I like.
So I like that
'cause it
part
was-
too, actually.
Yeah, you know that shows. I think that shows like the.
Well, that shows leadership. That's what we're
Well, yes.
missing here. Where it's like you're my person, so I protect you.
Yeah, like that shows the character of Pike.
And it
which-
shows the character of Pike as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, so I thought that was pretty good. I like that.
Because we don't really see. You would see. Cause they actually in Old Trek they talk about leadership and stuff like that all the time here. And while here it's all just about feelings with no form. In this new show, right?
Yeah.
So it was nice to actually see like an actual leadership moment where it's like, no, you're my troopie, so I'm going to, you're under my protection.
But then when she goes back to her quarters and does her ending monologue, her log entry, she's like, you know, the captain said he would protect me, but what if I wasn't useful to him?
Would he have protected me?
Yeah, like that. That's the part I found was really stupid.
Oh yeah?
Like that one line.
Oh, okay.
It's like she thinks she thinks she would be like rejected if she wasn't useful.
Oh yeah.
Just to like, I guess, I don't know, give some kind of message about prejudice or something that wasn't really thought out.
Yeah, well, at least maybe with the context of Starfleet, because I don't really know what this Starfleet's supposed to be. They seem to worship it as an institution sometimes.
I guess it kinda
But then
depends on the
sometimes they're
episode.
like, screw the rules, but an institution is rules, so why...
Well, it kind of depends on the episode.
Yeah.
But like this, what like if she wasn't first, if she wasn't useful, then she wouldn't even be in Starfleet.
Yeah. Well,
Like
yeah, there
that-
you go.
Because
They would... No, they're very strenuous, aren't they? With
yeah,
their,
they're very selective about who they let in.
They're very... They do a test that traumatizes you.
Yes.
You remember the Wesley episode where
Yeah.
they fake a fire. And yeah, like you're not going to get back from that, whether you did the right thing or not.
Just to teach them a lesson.
You're never going to trust Starfleet ever again after that either. It's like,
yeah.
oh no, it's not an emergency. The Klingons aren't attacking. It's just a...
Especially that, like, because they
It's
could
just a
like
test.
they just tricked him into it. Like,
Yeah. Oh, what were you saying?
yeah, no, like that line about thinking that she wouldn't, like,
Oh,
Pike
usefulness,
wouldn't
yeah.
protect her if she wasn't useful to him. And
But then, yeah, you wouldn't be in Starfleet unless you were, because that's the nature of
that
Starfleet.
too, and that like Starfleet, or at least this Starfleet I grew up with, wouldn't just like be so prejudiced.
Well, no, because we saw we saw, what's his name, Barclay,
Yeah,
where they try so hard to help him out, but he still screws up.
yeah.
Until he becomes a god, and then they all like him. Because he
No.
fixes the ship with his god powers.
No, that was another episode.
I don't know.
He fixed the ship with his outside the box
Yeah.
thinking that one time. So that.
Well, I guess the message always is, even if you think you're useless, there's something you're good at.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, so then we pretty much reached the end then, didn't we? You want to wrap it up then? Because we're over half an hour.
Yes. This episode, yeah, it would be a mediocre original series episode. But the episode on its own, it's I don't know.
You know what? I'm finding that when I think about it, I like the ideas behind it. I even like some decisions they make, but for some reason I'm not vibing with it. The vibe of it is just off to me.
Yeah, because like I was interested in like the idea
As
of
you
it,
said,
but the execution kind of fell flat.
As you said before, it just feels like CW, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Or whatever,
it does.
the
Like a CW,
cheap television, yeah.
Yeah, like a CW show.
Everyone's wacky and...
The feelings in hallways.
Yeah.
Characters that have to be stupid just to move the plot
But
along.
that's really, I think that's really the fatal flaw of it, is the stupid character thing, because I'm sure they did that in Star Trek as well before, but not to this degree. No, that's the thing. Picard, if it was done in TNG, it would be a crappy two-parter that we just forget about. But now it's streaming. We got to spend 20 hours with 2 really bad episodes of Picard. Instead of just... Because now, like, with this, you don't like one episode? Well, maybe the next one's okay.
Yeah. That's what I like about the episodic kind of series, rather than one through story for I guess 6. Not like a movie stretched out into a 6-episode series.
I dreaded going back to Picard. I only watched it because RLM really did a review for it. And I didn't even make it into the 3rd season of Discovery. But this is probably the first Star Trek, actually, where I'm going to kind of look forward to seeing the next episode just to see if how it goes.
I think I'm going to keep watching, but I'm not impressed so far.
Yeah.
But I'll let them impress me. I'm willing to be impressed.
Well, basically, there's no other TV. I don't care about any other TV shows out there anyway, so this isn't. This isn't taking away from a better show for me right now. Anyway.
Giant Doctor Strange. It's everybody.
Oh no, Captain Picard, get away before he crushes your brains with his powers. Or no, it would.
The Enterprise encountered a giant Doctor Strange in space.
And it crapped it.
No, I think it fit more with this Enterprise. With the original series Enterprise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, this is not real. Whatever.
Well, no, because that'd be spoilers for. Well, this isn't. But Picard gets brutally murdered in his movie, doesn't he?
The series movie?
Yeah, his movie.
Oh yeah. No, we talked about that in the Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Thing. So go back and watch that. No, I have God powers.
I have machine gun powers.
All the great power invented by humans is nothing compared to
my imagination.
The alien of the week.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Let's see what she's got.
I did. Zoomed away.
There, got the lights on. See the lights.
We gotta turn the lights off to see the lights.
There, see it glows.
Is it all the same lights? Oh no, there should be a light illuminating the name.
Well, Scott.
My friends, we've come home. What's the matter, Jim? I miss my old chair. Engine room, we'll need all the power you can muster, mister.
What, is this from 5?
Yeah.
Oh.
Star Trek 5.
Let's see what she's got.